The price of greed. A young couple's tragic choice. There was a young couple struggling to survive. Every day was a battle. They barely had one proper meal. Their home was small and worn out, and people around them laughed at their misfortune. Life was hard, and hope seemed like a distant dream. One day, while walking through the market, they ran into an old friend they hadn't seen in years. The friend looked completely different. She was rich, living a life they could only dream of. Cars, a beautiful house, wealth everywhere. The sight stunned them. The friend smiled knowingly and whispered about a secret, a money ritual that could bring unimaginable wealth. At first, the couple laughed. They said, "We can't do that. That's not for us." But life had been cruel. Hunger, humiliation, and despair were constant companions. Slowly, desperation began to take over. They started thinking, what if this ritual could really change their lives? They had nothing to lose, except perhaps their pride. And so, after many sleepless nights of debate, they agreed. They decided to take the path that would alter their fate forever. The ritual was dark and mysterious. They were taken to a place filled with flickering lights and strange symbols. The air was thick with incense and whispers. There, the couple learned the price they would pay for wealth. The wife would have to make a sacrifice. She would give up her womb, the ability to bear children, and even more tragically, her beauty. Day by day, she would grow older in appearance, losing the youth she had once taken for granted, and in exchange, wealth would flood into their lives. At first, the idea terrified them, but suffering had already worn them down. They nodded in agreement, sealing their fate. The ritual began, and soon their lives changed. Money, luxury, and comfort flooded in. Cars, houses, fine clothes, everything they had ever dreamed of was now theirs. But with wealth came an invisible cost. The wife, who was supposed to remain youthful, started showing signs of aging. Lines formed on her face, her hair lost its shine, and her once radiant beauty faded. The husband, however, seemed to forget the sacrifice she had made. He looked at her with cold eyes, no longer seeing the woman who had given everything for them. He began to cheat, seeking the beauty that once was his wife's in other women. He scolded her, mocked her, and treated her as if she were nothing. The wife endured the pain silently, her heart breaking with every betrayal. But there were whispers, rumors in the streets that the wealth came from dark magic. People noticed the wife's changing appearance and began to stare, to gossip. Even the husband began to feel uneasy, sensing that something dark was lingering around their fortune. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months, and the toll on her spirit became unbearable. The loneliness, rejection, and shame became too heavy to bear. One night, overcome with sorrow, she took her own life, leaving behind a world that had never truly appreciated her sacrifice. The moment she died, the consequences of the ritual shifted. The husband, who had enjoyed the fruits of her sacrifice, began to lose everything. His wealth vanished. Cars were gone. The house was lost, and even his job was taken from him. His health began to decline. Every day, he looked in the mirror and saw himself aging rapidly, becoming more wretched and broken than he had ever been when they were poor. The final twist came when he tried to reach out for help. Everyone turned their backs on him. Friends disappeared. Business partners abandoned him. Even the old friend who introduced them to the ritual seemed to vanish without a trace. He was truly alone. No wife, no family, no children, just regret and despair. The story of this couple serves as a warning. Greed can blind us to the value of love and life itself. Wealth gained through betrayal, dark rituals, or selfish acts may bring temporary pleasure, but the consequences are always inescapable. True happiness cannot be bought. Integrity, love, and patience are worth far more than fleeting riches. The choices we make and the sacrifices we accept shape not only our future, but the lives of those we love. Remember this story, and remember the lesson. Shortcuts to wealth often hide traps, and those who ignore the cost eventually pay the ultimate price. Greed may shine like gold, but its shadow is long, dark, and merciless.